Hello again, chess fans. Uh, I'm gonna do uh, the second game of the 1886 World Chess Championship. I'm gonna play the game and with my own analysis in it. This is the game number two, Steinitz versus Zukertort, with Steinitz now with the white pieces and Zukertort the black pieces. The winner of this game is Zukertort, and the game was played in 1886 in USA. Without further ado, let's go to the game. Alright, here it is. So the opening is called Scotch Game Smid Variation. Let's begin. Starts with the e4, e5, and Scotch Game is where the four knights will come out early in the game. Captures the pawn. White recaptures. There's the third knight out of the game. That's the fourth knight. So let's continue on. The knight to c3 by white there is to prevent the capture of the white pawn on e4. So Zukertort pins with the bishop. The knight captures the knight at c6. Zukertort recaptures with the b pawn. Now for me, this one I would personally uh, capture with my queen pawn, the d pawn, to allow my bishop to open up on the big diagonal instead of the smaller diagonal there. Okay, so that's just me. Let's continue on. Oh, brings out the bishop in preparation for castle. And now Zukertort opens up the position by putting his d pawn in the center while opening up the diagonal of his light square bishop. White captures, black recaptures. So the double pawn now is fixed anyway for for learners. A double pawn is not an ideal positions for your pawn, so you try to avoid the double pawn as much as possible. Um, so now Zukertort, he fixed the double pawn to to connect his D pawn and C pawn at this point. Oh, by the way, back to the double pawn. Double pawn, it's just a weak position in general, and then it also undefends uh, the spot where the pawn came from. It's just like in analogy, a soldier out of his post. Now it's now undefended. So that is my quick analogy there. So Steinitz castles, black castles too, and he pins white pins black's knight there, and just reorganizing a solid pawn position in the center. So at this point, we can see uh, black's castle king has a weakness. So in the early part of the game, the knight at f3 went to the center and then captured the the knight on c6. So that left the uh, the defender on the king side gone. So we don't have a knight on f3, so there's no more defender on the castle king of white. So now what black will do will exploit the weakness of the castled king of white, as we will see later on. So now repositions his bishop, attacking the h2 pawn. Okay, blocks the diagonal of the bishop. So just shoos away the bishop there to remove the pin. White retreats his bishop. Okay, so that begins the Zukertort's attack on Black's Castle King. So an important idea here is to, when you find a weakness in your opponent's side, exploit that weakness. Try to put more and more officers, more pawns. Try to use the weakness as much as possible in order to gain an advantage. So we can see that being played out in this at this moment of the game. So attacks the Black Knight and puts another major piece, the queen, on h4 to further intensify the attack. Captures the knight. Black recaptures. Okay. So Steinitz is trying to counter attack here by doing a battery. So this is kind of an interesting way of repositioning the white bishop to maintain to keep pressure on the diagonal, the f1 a6 diagonal. So the if white captures the black bishop, it's a checkmate. So that's just um, very very elementary trap. So now, okay, so black's bishop repositions on the queen side, and at this point Steinitz have an advantage on the open file, on the open e file. Okay, shifting the range of his bishop on the longest diagonal there, center diagonal. Okay, so now Zukertort is intensifying his attack. He's putting more and more uh, attacking pieces, pawns. Okay, it's good counter attack there by Steinitz. Steinitz notices a weakness as well on the bishop there, and the pawn. Protects the bishop. Kind of a defensive move also to free up his rook on a1 to participate in the game. It's a very interesting sacrifice. So if white captures the pawn, it 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 will leave the white's bishop there pinned on his queen, and meanwhile he has a black has a pawn on c6 to recapture the bishop, white's bishop, in case he captures at d4. So he declines the trap there and um, moves his rook because of the bishop's threat there by white. Captures the bishop. It's trading pieces here. Captures. No. Okay, now skewers the two rooks. So protecting the rook. Steinitz puts up a battery. Okay. He has to capture the other rook now. Yeah, let's exchange. Okay. White now starts to attack using his knight there. Now the dark square bishop of Zukertort is now gone and the queen is gone, so it looks like the attack now is shifted to to white's to white being the attacking 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 momentum here. Okay, threatens to capture the knight. The knight repositions, threatening to capture black's rook. Okay, nice battery by Zukertort, threatening mate. Once the defender on e1 is gone. Okay, escape route. Okay, further rearranging his pawns, consolidating the strength of the center pawns. Good, a very nice execution there by black. Okay, threatening to put white's knight on g6 to further on his attack there. Okay, attempting an exchange there of pawns. Excellent move. Excellent queen move there. So threatening to capture the knight. White protects his knight. Queen repositions in the center. So white uh, continues his plan there to go on g6. Knight comes back. Oh, excellent pawn move. I would say that that pawn move is the make or break of this game. The the pawn put more pressure on on white at this point. So as you can see, the queen and rook of Steinitz pretty much are out of action here. They're imprisoned due to the strength of that center D pawn. So threatening to push his pawn there on c4 block uh, to block the range of the light square bishop there on the side. Okay. Putting his king on safety. Just repositioning their kings. Interesting move. So if white captures that pawn on c4, his rook is free. White kings come back. Beautiful repositioning of black's bishop, controlling the long center diagonal. So white now is on the defensive side at this point. He cannot attack. There's no way he can counter attack because just his pieces are limited in range. Beautiful battery. So now black now has a mate threat there on h1 by removing the rook. White puts a blockage there on the diagonal. Check. Offering a queen trade. Check. Queen trade. Now black's rook has now penetrated white's territory here. Sacrifice, good sacrifice. If white now captures the bishop, the d pawn is free to queen. So white declines the capture of the bishop. So now Zukertort blocks white's rook in order for his d pawn to queen. Threatens to capture black's rook, at the same time prevent repositioning the knight to prevent the queening pawn on d1. So very good, a double purpose move, protect the rook as well as to advance to the queening square, preventing the queen promotion. Captures. And now Steinitz resigns. If he captures, if the knight captures the black bishop, the pawn is free to queen. Beautiful, beautiful game. So, lesson for this game from my thoughts is, as I mentioned early on in the game, the there was a weakness on white's king side. The knight being the defender on f3 is gone because it was captured at the early part of the game. So that weakness is being exploited by Zukertort by putting attacking pieces there, concentrating his forces on the weak side, as well as the pawn move on d6. Let me put that back there. Excellent. Let me find that position. Yeah, that's when he starts to exploit the weakness, putting more pieces to attack white's castle king. And let me forward to the excellent pawn right there. That pawn there, pawn to d3 by black, is another big lesson to learn on this game. So by pushing your pawn there, it just keeps the pressure, and as well as it limits the ranges of white's pieces. That is the strongest pawn move, I would say, in this part of the game. Yeah, so there you go. I hope you learned something from this game. If you have any comments, please leave them as this analysis is only it's very personal to me. My analysis could be your analysis might be better, so just please leave your comments. All right, that's it for this. See you on the next game.